Hello, I'm Farah, and I'm absolutely thrilled to host today's webinar, AI Opportunities and Challenges in Pakistan. The panelists for today are Dr. Faisal Kamiran, an award-winning data scientist and co-founder of ADDO AI. His work with ADDO AI provides AI and big data solutions to Fortune 100 companies, government institutions, and other business sectors. These days, he's also busy learning golf, managing workout routines, and handles his two dogs, Jack and Tiger. Our second panelist is Ali Rehan, who has over 15 years of experience in AI research, products, and startup. He is currently the CTO of a stealth AI company. Previously, Ali was the head of AI at Motive. Ali has a deep understanding of how to build AI products and start the AI businesses. Ali is also a big fan of road trips and has traveled across Alaska on an RV. Our third panelist, Shamoon Tariq, is an accomplished global fund manager with over 13 years of experience investing in emerging and frontier markets. In 2022, he co-founded a digital wealth management startup in Pakistan called Mahana Wealth. Mahana Wealth launched its first fund in Pakistan and utilizes AI techniques in investing. Shamoon is a quant by profession and an expert in the field of machine learning and AI for investments. He's also a skydiver and enjoys traveling. Without further ado, I open the floor to ask the most pertinent question. How do you all see IT particularly impacting the future of jobs in Pakistan in your respective field?
Okay, that's a very important question because I think this question is actually changing over time. If you would have asked this question maybe like 1 year ago before ChatGPT, so the answer was different. But right now, the landscape is changing very quickly. So in general, given I have a background in both academia and industry, so there are a couple of things I would like to. First of all, I think at least we need to understand. So when we say job markets, is it really for AI professionals or other professionals? So if I say just let's assume that any profession. So here, so my strong recommendation or my advice would be whatever we do, for example, in our universities, the syllabus we follow. So we just need to be very careful, both with respect to university perspective and also with respect to students' perspective. What exactly we are aiming for. For example, with respect to university, I see some of the programs which are very heavy on mathematics, but some are which are not that heavy on mathematics. And we just need to understand that how we keep the right balance whilst we are making our syllabus, while we are preparing the plans of what we are teaching. For example, I'm heading an MS Data Science program at Information Technology University, and I understand some courses are very applied and some courses are extremely mathematical. So now, if we are going for we are planning to have your future career in research, maybe then mathematical foundation mathematical rigor courses are very important. But if you want to go to just as a professional, you want to have some job in industry, the top-notch organization, maybe more like big data, and you need to understand how the cloud is working, how the latest technologies are evolving. So this is more practical experience would be more useful on that one. Okay, coming back to the actual question, if we see that how this AI revolution is impacting the job market. So I would just categorize the overall job market into 3 categories, and even the region, I would say. When I say categories, so one is extremely the labor class, right? Where we have all the things are manual. And second thing is where we have the middle one, where we just have we do coding, we do other stuff, and it's more maybe the data entries. These are middle level jobs. And the third one is really the creative ones. So, and geographically, it also depends. Right? I would come to geographically in a minute, but before going to that part, so let me address these 3 categories. So in the third one, labor one, so my assumption is that here the geography would be important. Maybe if you say Japan, if you say Singapore, because they have a heavy budget and there is a huge opportunity for investment on the infrastructure, investment on robotics, maybe that could be a danger. But for a country like Pakistan, where we are struggling, I don't see that danger right now. because whatever we are building, even we are still struggling with the basic needs. So having like robots and having machinery, that would be too long, I would say. That we would have to, that's not a problem, at least in the next 10 years, what I can see right now. Second thing is the middle one. So where we have like very repetitive tasks. It can be receptionist, it can be data entry. I see that they need to think. They need to either upskill themselves, either they need to get they know the technologies which can really help them to move their skills a little bit up. About the third category, because like in generative AI, now this is everybody knows, like this can be like these things are being like one service would come and all of your data will be entered, and it's not that difficult right now. And about the third category, creativity, I think this is the area where we need to polish our youth, our youngsters, our students, so they can think, they can plan, they can actually add value over there, because this will stay forever. And even with the generative AI, with these new things, I'm sure like these jobs, these positions would, because there will be a complete revolution in the industry. New things would come, new companies would come, even just name anything, even like electric vehicles. So now more industry would be there, more challenges would be there. So you need to come up professionals who can think, who can actually work on solutions. So this is like my perspective on the job market, how it's being impacted, and how as a Pakistan, where we can focus and what we need to worry about that.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dr. Faisal. Ali, please.
Yeah, so I think like I 100% agree with what Dr. Faisal said. I just build on top of it, and I think in the third category of creative and management layer or role, I think that's like where we need to focus on. With specifically, for example, I think if you take computer sciences specifically for example. We used to put a lot of our universities, a lot of our curriculum used to put a lot of emphasis on teaching people to code. And what I realized over a lot of years of experience was that people could code, but they could not do great problem solving. And there's a very clear distinction between these two problems. What is interesting right now is coding is actually being taken care of by these LLMs and generative AI companies. But the problem solving is still going to be a huge problem. I talk to a lot of people in my network. Like so I just started a company. I'm hiring right now. I'm interviewing candidates, and almost every person that I talk to, like people are actually using ChatGPT to code actively. I am doing it on a daily basis. So it significantly improves my productivity in terms of like code creation. But in terms of problem solving, it doesn't really help me. I still need to figure out what are the kind of problems that I need to solve, and how do I approach those problems. And so taking a step back from this coding example, generally, I think if we really want to leverage AI well, what is interesting is we'll be able to create solutions, but we need to find the right questions and the right answers. Then once we have the answer, then somebody else will create that answer. Like the AI will create the answer for us. So we need to focus on these two layers.
Thank you, Ali. Shamoon, what would you have to say?
Yeah, but I think using AI and ML techniques for like last few years, I think most of the mechanical work in the world is going to replace definitely. And I believe it's a double-edged sword, where we will see some existing jobs going out of the business, but new jobs being created. But in a nutshell, if I have to say, I'd say all the mechanical and the manual work will be replaced, but only the domain experts will stay. As Ali mentioned about the coding, he's absolutely right. So, for example, in our own company, when most of the code, even the business analyst, most of it is replaced. And when we speak about our particular company, how we are employing AI, we'll give more color to that. But I think AI is sort of a thing where we can kind of put an analogy when the smartphones changed the world, and all of a sudden the way things were done before that and how it happened before that. I'll also agree with Faisal. I think the geographies will play a huge role, depending on which country is in a journey where even the basic IT and the tech infrastructure is in place for that. Because we need to understand that AI is not just about, it's not a tool, it's built on data. And any country who has that a data gathering and large computing power and the tech infrastructure, only they will actually be abusing that. But I guess geographies will only play a role in terms of how quickly a country can evolve into that. We will see obviously the developer like Singapore, Japan, and others adopting to these areas quickly. But countries like Pakistan, Vietnam, India, they will be a bit faster. As far as the automation is concerned, I guess the world, in my belief, the world's going to change. So I'll just give one example. When I was investing in the emerging markets, we were an investor in a company managing the industry park for Samsung. So all the LEDs were prepared in Vietnam, and 99% of that was in. So basically, the plant was operated by robots, and I'm talking about 2015. So that is the state of art of technology in the world. And when you club it up with the data and the AI techniques, I think the kind of efficiencies, the kind of the economic growth we are going to see would be much different than we are. As far as I think Pakistan's concerned, Pakistan is too behind from the basics of IT, I'd say. But I think Pakistan could actually be worse affected with the use of AI, given the kind of education Pakistan has right now, and where we are progressing. But I think the low skill laborers are definitely at risk. But with the new industries that are coming up, I think we just have to adapt and learn new areas and so forth. Like, for example, if I was doing some research, and now the most required job in the world is prompt engineers, not the developers and so forth. So obviously there will be new areas coming up. It's just like if we can ride that wave or not.
That's very clear that Pakistan's biggest challenge, it seems so far, is the infrastructure to support AI. On top of that, and Shamun, you are the first in the financial industry to introduce AI through Mahana Wealth. So I'd start asking it from you that what are the regulation and regulatory policy issues in Pakistan that can be a challenge for AI?
Okay. Obviously, AI has been used in Pakistan in multiple areas, I'd say, and yeah, like so obviously we are trying to employ those techniques in the financial industry. As we all know, Pakistan is one of the lowest in the financial inclusion in the world, and savings and so forth. And one biggest risk has been a huge paperwork, KYC, and so forth. Unfortunately, most of the stuff that we are dealing with is just bringing Pakistan up to speed what the world has seen for the last 20 years of like seamless onboarding, KYC, and so forth. But in association with that, we are not just doing the basic IT work. We are trying to employ as much of automation and AI techniques into that. So, like for example, seamless onboarding, KYC handling, personalized advice to the individual based on their particular situation, so forth, and also building investment products which are being created by algorithms and so forth. So basically, we are trying to just promote financial inclusion in the youth of Pakistan and providing them with the investment strategies which are transparent, personalized, and low cost. As far as the challenges are concerned, I guess the biggest challenges have been the regulatory side of it, because the regulators are not on top of how the new technologies entail. So and like still like someone sitting in SCCP or State Bank, they're still learning how the basics of technology works, let alone the AI and so forth. And the second is the industry's in tech infrastructure. So even if you come up with the very sophisticated technology and model, the industry is not capable to cater that. For example, I have experience in algorithmic trading and high frequency trading, and when we were integrating with the stock exchange, they could not pick up the load when we were sending the trade orders. And as I understand, obviously the world has invested millions of dollars to get that capability. But in Pakistan, we still believe a website is a technology. So in a country trying to bring that, but having said that, I'd say what we have achieved so far is something that I'm very proud of, and it's the reason is that we work hand in hand with the regulators, SECP, and we sat down with them and we introduced a concept of digital wealth management back in 2022, and we gave them a presentation, and the result of that was that they came up with a digital AMC framework, which is still evolving. We are constantly in touch with them, and they are making it easy for everybody just to make sure that a retailer or any individual investor can easily onboard. The KYC is not a hassle and so forth. So it's very heartening to see. And I guess this sort of public-private partnership with the regulators, I guess that can definitely change. So I just said last month
I would thank you very much, Shamoon. That's something very exciting for us to understand how Mahana Wealth is working with regulatory bodies. But I think there's one silver lining to all this, which is that 22 is the median age of Pakistani youth, Pakistani population. They're very receptive to technology. And Ali, you have experience in AI businesses, startups. We have a lot of students ready to join the bandwagon with the resources and the issues we have. What is your recommendation? Where to start from?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I talk to a lot of people about this very frequently. I think we've in the VC industry, if you look at the last 2 to 3 years, 2021, early 22 was all about crypto, and then everybody since like mid of maybe like last year, everybody is thinking about AI, and everybody that you talk to is trying to do something in the AI space using generative AI tools. They don't have a very clear understanding of the problem that they're trying to solve. So everybody's taking a very technology first approach, which in my opinion is a problem. And I think like I see this pattern a lot. I talk to a lot of like first time founders, early stage founders who are just picking up a technology component and then they're trying to build a business on top of it. So because I think that's wrong. Like I generally, the way I think these things should be done is in the exact opposite way. I think even if you want to build an AI business, you want to do a couple of things. One, you have to fundamentally start with the problem first. You have to understand the industry, irrespective of the problem that you want to solve. Using AI, forget about AI, just go deep into that industry, understand their problems, understand the constraints, talk to people, live their life for a bit so that you really understand how things happen today. And then you'll figure out the right product that you build. Now, that's one. Two, once you figured out the product that you want to build, even then, I don't think AI is a solution you want to focus on day one. You first want to, like, irrespective of how you do it, whether you use humans or use reinforcement, like human in the loop or any other hacks, just try to build the product and get it out in the market as soon as possible and validate that product, see if it makes sense, see if people are biting on the solution. Once you validate the solution, then the third step is actually like incorporating AI or making it more sophisticated. And even then, I think what you need to do is the first model that you will build will always like fail. Like it will not work. You cannot assume that you'll build a model, you'll deploy it, and it'll just work. In fact, it's a better assumption to assume that it will not work. So you have to figure out strategies on how to like collect more data from the field, understand what is happening with the model, and improve it over time to build and improve your product experience. So like just to summarize 3 things: focus on the problem, get to the market as soon as possible, and then be prepared to do a lot of iterations to improve the product experience.
Thank you, Ali. Dr. Faisal, in healthcare, AI is actually taking place in Pakistan. What do you think is the success of AI in healthcare in Pakistan?
Yeah, thank you, Farah. In general, I would separate the operationalization of AI into two steps. I think that's very well known in overall industry. So where one step is enabling the data platforms, and the second thing is then building upon AI use cases over that platforms. So as a company, we have a lot of experience internationally of working with some very large scale enterprises and solving their problems. And even I think they are struggling with building the right platforms and then enabling AI use cases, because individual success stories are there. But you would, if you just like, if you would review and examine their digital success, so it would not be that kind of I would say mature. If we particularly talk about Pakistan, so I think in Pakistan, I know some of the private organizations who are working on AI use cases and who are really excelling in this area. But still, I think in general, our problem of building the right data platforms where we can bring in the right data, so where we can build our AI use cases, it is not solved, right? So we have just like organic growth in most of the even big private hospital, and in government, we are still struggling just with the collection of data. So I have experience of working with the government of Punjab and health department, and that was a project with respect to disease outbreak prediction. It was not it was quite a bit struggle, like, because they were, even if you go to any government hospital, you would see like people is running behind you just to collect basically your name and CNIC, which is useless. That just gives us a number of account, like how many patients for certain disease are coming. But anyway, if we in Pakistan situation, I would say still it's not very satisfactory, but we need to work on bringing the right platforms, and government should really champion this thing. They need to come up, because maybe when I will go to Shaukat Khana for my blood test, I know they have my record, but such record should be some EHR, some electronic health record should be with the government. So they should give confidence to all the players. Okay, share your data. We will not do anything bad with that. You will have your clientele, your business will stay. But for citizens, at least they can have a very integrated approach, that how the disease is moving from, how this patient's I mean, journey is moving around the different steps, because every time you go to a different hospital and you have different experience.
So I guess the people, because most of our audience is students and they want to look into a career to go into. So I think there's no rocket science needed. Understanding data governance, understanding data standardization, how to create good data sets, those could be new careers in Pakistan, at least for now. And also understanding regulations if you're going into law or if you're going into a government service. With that said, and this is what I've concluded from the talk so far, I'd like to ask you, when you hire people from Pakistan, what is the missing ingredient that you would want our audience to know to work on?
I can talk about it first. So I was
then Ali, then.
Okay. Shaman.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, I think you're right in terms of hiring. I'd say most of the talent pool is still on the dev side and so forth. But with the AI, we still see some the talent pool not equipped with the latest technology, even just with the data wrangling and data structuring, as you rightly mentioned. Even those are the careers that could be a good start. And I think being a data scientist, I can just say, like, just putting the data into the right format and collecting and putting it into perspective is just, it's a good 60 to 65% of the job. That can actually, all the AI and the machine learning models can be built upon. But we don't see yet that sort of a talent pool coming into Pakistan. But at the same time, it's not. I wouldn't say that they are very far. I think Pakistanis are one of the most talented in terms of the IT. And I've worked with the Indian developers, I've worked with the global developers and the tech teams. And I'd say Pakistan is up to the mark. It's just like they have to put things into the right perspective and just be on top of those kind of technologies. But we still see some talent in terms of the basic analysis and the machine learning and like using the libraries and so forth. But I've yet to see anyone who can actually build their own models and which, and like especially in the financial industry that I've seen.
Yeah, I think so. On my experience has mainly been on the computer vision side of the AI world. What I've noticed is I think we have a bunch of a group of very strong computer vision engineers. I think ITU is doing a great job producing some top-notch AI talent in the computer vision area. What my experience has been like slightly on the other side. I think people have like ITU has been doing top-notch AI research. They publish at the top conferences, and after going through that rigorous process, people understand how to build models, how to think about new creative ways of solving some core computer vision problems. What I in my interview process and initially at Motive and now even at my own startup, what we felt was most of the people have like most of the engineers that we were trying to hire, like they had a very narrow narrow scope in terms of the kind of problems that they had solved. So they would train one model and they would move on. They would not see the thing through, and that's generally, I think, because in Pakistan we've not had a lot of strong product success stories. So when and the difference is like when you focus on the product, you're not just building the first model, you're actually seeing it through. You're trying to make sure that it works end to end, and you deploy it in the field. You find the bad cases, areas where it's not working, and then you have to solve those problems and on and on. So that's what I felt is I feel is missing, like the core product understanding, how to figure out the right core problem to solve and how to build the right model for it and make sure that it works over time.
So I'll ask Dr. Faisal, coming from academia as well, how much is it for teachers to take responsibility of creating the right talent, and how much should we be impacting as CEOs of tech companies to actually lower our expectations, let the students come in as trainees, let them make some mistakes if they haven't learned in the market, because AI is new to Pakistan and the students with certain kind of learning need an exposure. So whose job is it to train them right, and whose job is it to give them the right jobs?
Yeah, wonderful question. I think this is the actual missing part that you just mentioned, because this, like, who will take this, who will own this responsibility? Actually, it's not the only responsibility of teacher nor the industry. So we, at some point, we would have to come closer to each other. And you see, as Ali mentioned, maybe the names of ITU, LUMS, or maybe Punjab University, or some other. I'm just like fast. So these are the universities where we have professionals, they have close connections with the industry. That's why they have better products over there, right? And even if I just separate on the responsibility of teacher and also on the company. So I think on the instructor side, so again, it would start with the development of your curriculum. So here the HEC would come into play. It should not, you cannot give like a certain fixed curriculum, okay, just follow it. No, you cannot do it. So in this way, you have to keep it evolving, right? Same for the teachers. You cannot keep your assignment, your things very fixed. You need to just like evolve it with the time. You need to think like what exactly industry is asking. And particularly maybe at some point, frankly speaking, we would have to change our instruction criteria. Maybe, for example, right now, most of the time industries they are very keen to hire PhDs. Maybe for these kind of things, you don't need PhDs. Maybe they need to come here to plan and you may need to just supervise the program. But maybe the right instructors who are actually industry professionals, as Ali mentioned, that who are making models with respect to certain problems, who are actually operationalizing them, because that's a missing part most of the times what we have in our company for the interviews for the candidates. Because people usually come, they have theoretical knowledge, they have like knowledge of different things, but if you say, okay, can you do it end to end, that's missing. And that is the actual thing. If you don't deliver the model, you don't deliver the pipeline which can work, which can give result to the customer, it's useless for anyone. So all POC, all MVPs will go bad. It will have no effect. Coming back to to our company or like any hiring. So I think on this part, university has a limited, I would say, bandwidth, because most of the times you work on client projects and you cannot really take risk on these things, because AI is very critical thing, and whenever it comes to data, it's very sensitive. You cannot really like do anything which can compromise clients' work. But here, I think most of the industries, at least in Lahore, what I know, so they have certain programs. They have programs of internship. They're always keen to have bright people, and they want to spend certain time of their team to just polish them, to bring them up to the mark. So they are okay. I think they are quite like open into this in these things. But actually, the goal would be that if we can just bring industry, academia closer, and we can keep it open. Like if the industry people can go there, and teachers can also come into the industry, they can work industry and they can upskill, they can know that what exactly is being demanded over there.
Thank you very much. That's very important for all. So we all need to upgrade our skills, teachers, CEOs, students, fresh graduates. And it will take some time for us to build that academia industry gap, which was already there. Now it is all enlarged. Meanwhile, what are the unconventional places, accelerators, startups for AI or concentrating on AI trainings in Pakistan? Which ones can the students or people go to learn AI while academia is still catching up?
I think maybe just like my 2 cents on this. So definitely there are some kind of accelerators. For example, in PITB there was Plan 9. I'm not sure like how active right now it is, but that was a good place where people can come and they can just like have their they can test their knowledge and they can upskill themselves. Again, here the entry criteria was quite high, but what I would recommend, I think some research labs. For example, I have a data science lab and I have a crime investigation and prevention lab, and same, you will find like research labs across different universities. Maybe that would be a very good starting point. And probably, I think, I'm sure that Ali can add further on that one. So all the good talent, but motive and these, at least that's what I know. So these guys were getting, so it was from different labs. It was not directly from the classroom.
Yeah, exactly. I think in my experience, like this is how I think got into AI, and I've seen very consistent patterns. Like I'm going to zoom out of this specific comment, but just to build on it, it's if you want to learn something, I think like I don't agree that academia is like so there are gaps. I think the gap is that between the industry and academia collaboration, as Dr. Faisal said. I think academia, like teaching courses is one thing. I think what our students are missing is actual practical experience of building things. I think so to Dr. Faisal's point, like it's working at a lab solves is one of the solutions of the problems. I think generally taking a step back, what I've noticed is you need if you're a student and you want to succeed in your career, initially getting a job and then even like throughout the career, you need to think beyond what is immediately available to you as a default option. The default option is taking a course. The second option, like I would still think that the second default option is going to a YouTube or online course and going through the courses. You should still do that, but I think it'll help you. But what would really help you is actual practical experience of solving the problems, and you need to find people, associate yourselves with them, and work with them to actually get that experience of on how to solve these problems. Reach out to labs, reach out to startups, companies. I think people are willing to help. You just need to reach out, and you need to show that you are passionate about something and you want to learn it, and they will initially like work with you on maybe like they will give you something. Their time is important. So they would not like immediately get you on board and start working with you. They'll give you small assignment or try to understand how serious you are. But if you are serious and you can clearly show it to them, they will give you the opportunity. And that's the way to go about it. Like get practical experience by showing that you are hungry. I think that makes all the difference.
Um, just to add, like obviously, I think the debate of having academia up to the speed with the industry is long gone. I think now with the online courses available within Coursera, Udemy, like I learned programming from Udemy. I never went to any college or university. I did my FTP charter that was online. I did my algorithmic quant and learned basically all that online, and that's pretty cheap actually. So even courses ranging from $10 to anywhere around $100, and you can actually learn all the modern technology. So I don't see academia as a problem here, and like even globally, but from Pakistan perspective, definitely I think while we don't have many universities doing that, but all these online courses is a very good source of getting educated. I agree to Ali's point. Actually, it's the practical implementation that is a real challenge, not just in Pakistan, but also in globally, but particularly in Pakistan, where we don't see much sophisticated AI or those techniques implemented. Even if you get a job in that particular market, what are you going to learn? So I'd say like most of the learning part, as far as that's concerned, even that can be done pretty much online. But there are capstone projects. There are multiple global outsourcing platforms where you can actually try to implement and get the basics of it. And by the time the industry is evolved, uh, so so in the context of AI, I'd say more than academia, it's the industry that has to evolve into implementing those techniques. Um, I'll just say, like, I'll just add how we are doing it. So, for example, in Pakistan, opening an account is like in a wealth management or in a bank. It's a tedious process. It's like 25 years so forth. So what we evolved into is like we built an onboarding process which is like almost in 1 minute, and we are using the AI technique for reading your CNIC. We are using AI techniques for your vision and your fingerprints and so forth and stuff like that. And I'd still say, like, for example, that the regulators, they're still not on, like they do not actually understand that. So we have to take the regulators, the industry, the third party who we have integrated with at the pace that is acceptable to everybody. So I think, yeah, so to learn, you can definitely go online and just practice through Capstone and the offshore projects, I'd say.
I think we were talking about challenges and an opportunity came on the surface. There are no boundaries. It's not expensive. Whatever you want to learn is out there, mostly on YouTube. But like Shamun said, most of us are upskilling our own, as per requirement, our own skills by just paying very minimum amount, a very reasonable amount to learn the skills. So there's no reason not to know anything if you want to know it. With that, I'll just ask a question which is coming from the audience. What value AI can add in customer support for different industries like banking or medical?
I can take that.
Yeah, please. Please go ahead.
So actually, because we are working in the financial industry, so now we are actually employing we are integrating with ChatGPT, and so that all the customer related questions and everything are being tackled by those. So like basically the importance of that is all the data is there. It constantly evolves your situation, so it doesn't forget. It's not like a one-time thing and so forth. It puts your particular situation into the perspective when you're asking those questions and so forth. So in customer support, I definitely see that it is going to actually kill the business of the call centers even. So right now it's more text-based, But we have also seen, and we are experimenting even the voice-based answering to the customers of the very basic questions. Especially in the financial industry, you have a typical set of like how many questions? 15, 20? Like normally, those are the questions that you would ask. And if you can kind of make it more or build it on a generated LLMs, it makes it actually very much automated, and you don't need anybody on that. So we have it sort of achieved the first phase, but we are, I think it's just a start.
Please, Dr. Faisal, what would be your input with respect to healthcare?
Yeah, in general, I would like to add what Shamon said. I think I totally agree, because this is an area where we can expect a lot of disruption and support from AI. And even if we discuss about chatbots, which were there like for several years, only limitation was there because sometimes the context was not there, right? So we have chatbot to handle certain questions, and then give you some follow-up questions and follow-up responses. But right now with ChatGPT, so I think the context is there. So up to 10th and 20th message, you can keep the context, because LLMs are so powerful and they retain context, they retain everything. So in this way, I'm sure this will be an area where we would see a strong disruption in the coming days.
And this is again a question crafted from the audience's questions, that from fudging legal data to plagiarism in academia, the challenges of misusing AI are so many. What is the biggest challenge you face as a CEO in your industry, in your particular company, that is getting faced because of unleash AI?
I have an opinion, because this is a question that comes very often. I think we just have to evolve. It's just like, I still remember we were in school, like you have to do your calculation with your hands and memorize it. And when the calculator came and you don't use the calculators and so forth, and then the computers came, don't use the computers and do it with your hand. I think using any of these models or chat GPT for your work or content or your homeworks or anything, I actually think that's not a bad thing at all, because we have to train the students in a manner that they can actually put the creativity into the context, rather than doing the plain vanilla work and so forth. So there is definitely a risk in AI, but at least this is not the risk in terms of the plagiarism and so forth. So basically, I'd say like right now for Pakistan perspective, we are far behind the curve. So I think the threats and everything will follow later, and let the developed world worry about that more rather than we. We have other problems on our plate right now.
Again, any jobs really fading out in the short term in Pakistan, especially in Pakistan, that people should not be pursuing anymore short term?
I think the data entry jobs and data processing jobs are going to go very, very quickly. That's the first thing that will happen. I think also the data annotation, there were a lot of data annotation companies, they will get impacted as well, like at some levels, not a lot, maybe like initially at least, but with their foundation models, they'll have some impact over there as well. So yeah, like but general framework is anything that is very, very repetitive, and you don't need a lot of creative input, and will get impacted pretty quickly.
And Farah, maybe I would like to add a quick comment on the last question. So in general, I think whenever we use AI and also generative AI, so the governance part is extremely important, right? Because if we just keep things open, that anybody, for example, in my company, so we always encourage people that, okay, you can use generative AI or any AI software just to, for example, Jasper.ai and just name many. So just to get support of your work. So, but the only thing that where we are concerned is that you just need to be careful that some data, particularly your client data, it should not go somewhere. You just need to control that part. So we cannot keep that thing unleashed. This is with respect to professional life, and particularly I would recommend everyone like who is using OpenAI models. So you always need to care about your data, so because that can become public and that can become part of the public models. So for example, the foundational LLMs, what OpenAI has. So you just need to keep an eye on that part. And one more thing on that one. So in general, I think that is very important question because we need to have a strong governance mechanism on there. It can be human in the loop. It can be some mediator model that we build on top of foundational models. We just need to be careful what exactly we are using, what data we are giving, who will use it, and what output we are getting out, how we can better manage and control it. So these are important aspects. Without the consideration of these, the right consideration of these aspects, you can really go wrong in this way.
Thank you, Dr. Faisal. So we see people claiming to be overnight millionaires on using one AI algorithm or one very smart recipe. Is it still going to happen? Will we still have claims of overnighters because there was one algorithm one person knew, or that?
We lost you in the middle.
Yeah. So my question was, do we still, are we going to witness overnight successes in career and overnight millionaires because of AI anymore, or that era is leaving?
I generally disagree with this notion that you can become an overnight billionaire. Like all these stories, even like in the startup world, I think they're basically like there's a long path before that overnight story, which is and it's just that it's not visible, so it shows up in an overnight success story. So that there are some cases, maybe there are rare cases where it happens too, but like I don't think that's the norm, that's the standard thing. And generally my comment on this is, it's not really about a specific technology. Like technology doesn't make you rich immediately. Like it's the kind of problems that you want to solve, the kind of businesses that you want to build, the products that you build. So if you build a solid product, whether it uses an AI or not, if it becomes successful, you will hopefully get rich, but it won't happen overnight, and it can happen with or without AI. So AI is a non-factor in this broader equation of creating value using creating new things.
Absolutely. No, I think I totally agree with Ali here. I guess what you build on top of those AI models is more important than AI in itself. We need to understand AI is just nothing. Basically, AI is using it's a new way of the like new rules and new way of the game. It doesn't change anything. So, but like not knowing AI, not knowing the basics of it, that would be a problem. You're definitely going to get poor if you don't learn new technologies and stuff. But overnight, I haven't even actually seen anyone getting rich over time. And as for the algorithms concerned, I don't like if I read you correctly, using any algorithm from OpenAI, I actually don't see, because that when everyone is using that algorithm, the alpha is just out of it. So like so the quality of algorithm is when no one else is using it. That's the quality. So if it's an OpenAI and ChatGPT, then it means it's available to everybody. So I think we need to build on top of it rather than because especially like we have seen many people training the Bloomberg's data on ChatGPT and coming up and claiming about the prediction of the capital markets or the Bitcoins and the cryptos. Absolutely, you don't need to follow that.
And what will be career advice for people who are excited or feeling overwhelmed by upcoming AI developments?
I would do the same thing, like whatever you learn good, and think about end to end, and be creative. Think about planning. So what you are building, so don't wait for the instructions. You need to come up with your solutions. You need to give solutions.
Reach out to people, work with people who you admire, who you appreciate, associate with yourself with them, learn from them. And like I think like this is something that we don't do a lot as a nation, I would say. Like maybe it's a general statement, but like we don't reach out, we don't talk to people, we don't ask for help. I think that just creates barrier on our own growth.
I agree. I think whichever industry you choose, I think be more creative and try to become a domain expert rather than a generalist, because I think journalists are just going out of business, anything mechanical. And one question that I didn't get a chance to answer about the job losses that we are seeing, I'll just put a few things into perspective in our industry in Pakistan. So like globally, we have seen that. So the end-to-end process for a wealth management is this: you onboard, you provide them a customized advice, and then you execute it. In a normal traditional in Pakistan, there are around 15 to 20 people in the back office and operations. And with us, we have zero, because the entire process is automated. So we just let go of 20 people. The investment team in a traditional asset management company in Pakistan consists of around 11 to 12 people, and the monthly cost for them would be like around 10 million a month. We just have 2 people in that area, and in May our fund will be the top performing fund compared to all the asset managers and so forth. That's because of the low cost, that's because of the use of technology, data analytics, and so forth. So I believe that the jobs are getting away very quickly. It's just the regulated industries are more in trouble, where the regulators, when you need to have permissions from the government or the regulators, that might see some reluctance of adopting new technologies. But I think the private sector is pretty much ready to replace the human labor with the computer labor.
So we have last 6 minutes left. I'll ask one question, and I think we can divide 2 minutes for a guest to have the answer, which is, what is one global technology waiting to be localized in Pakistan using AI? It will benefit Pakistan.
I am very bullish on improving the education system and the way people are trained. I think like especially on a not on the university level, but like on a basic primary and middle and metric AO levels on that care. I fundamentally believe that I think like the way we teach our students today is not really like like geared towards showing them the opportunity at but it's a broadcast thing. Like a teacher comes in the class, says something, and then goes away. I think I don't know who will do it or how it will be done in short term, but I think somebody will build an education platform that transforms primary and lower level of education. It'll be a lot more customized, tuned towards the need of individuals, and help them teach like critical thinking and creativity rather than rote learning.
Thank you, Ali. So, Dr. Faisal, in healthcare or in any of your exposure, do you see a opportunity for Pakistan to localize?
Yeah, I think in so as you mentioned in the beginning, so Pakistan's biggest advantage is your youth. So I think the rest of the things will take some time, some investment. So maybe that could be a long shot. The only thing I think where Pakistan really needs to focus is entrepreneurship and the right polishing of the skills for our youth, which can be exported very easily. So that's the thing. I know there are some already efforts, but they are not that significant. So maybe we just need to work on that part, and we need to become more calculated. It's what the world is asking, how the industries are evolving. And this is one thing. And it's not only at this level. So maybe any other level, even like whatever our labor force is going to Middle East or any other country, we need to work on that part. So that is a thing, if we will do within our country. So I think that is the industry that's an investment or localization of industry for each individual, and it will really go very long.
I think like any technology, like making it localized for Pakistan would be in a RegTech. So the regulatory processes that are being done in Pakistan, I guess that will be a game changer. I'll just put things into perspective. So State Bank, FBR, NADRA, all the agencies are working in silo. They all have wealth of data, but it's not connected. And that's one of the reasons that we do not have, we don't see the taxpayers, we have a black economy. If we just connect as a first, it's not even AI, it's just the foundation of AI. When we just connect all the data, accumulate together, and where everyone has a footprint, and the government can track that. So if we can just start that, I think there is, in our opinion, 2 times of the official economy is actually in the gray economy. And if that comes into the system, we are talking about the tax collection of the government, the fiscal deficit, the savings rates, the borrowing rates, the corruption, the import-exports data that is being fudged and everything. I think if we do that, as the country as a whole is going to benefit a lot from that.
That's awesome. Thank you very much for sharing so generously from your experience, your honest opinion, impressions about what AI is going to do and how it's going to disrupt the landscape of Pakistan. Now that we are about to end, I'd like to request my panelists to give a final remark on AI challenges and opportunities for Pakistan. You can start from anywhere, Ali. Go ahead.
Yeah. Generally, I think like I think I'm very optimistic about things. There are challenges that we'll have to solve for. Like I think people, like, there's some of them are real concerns. For example, a lot of our we do a lot. We have a lot of customer success, like customer support based companies in Pakistan. We have data operations in Pakistan, so a lot of those industries will get impacted. But also on the flip side, I think like the way I think about AI is AI is our chance to basically uplift the whole population on so many levels, like with education, with better healthcare, with better energy and infrastructure projects. I'm excited about all of those aspects, and I think like AI can seriously improve the overall quality of life of people in Pakistan if we build the right products in the right way. And I'm hoping one of us does that.
Yes, I think a lot of us are here to do that. Thank you, Ali. Dr. Faisal?
Yeah. So I think in generally, I see that we really can get like a lot of benefits of AI in most of the industries, and particularly I think because in Pakistan we are just like less than 3 billion exports right now, and if we just right now if you just think about like generative AI and ChatGPT, so now the whole world is asking for that, and if Pakistan really can just like we just need, the only challenge is someone will have to champion this thing, that how we can really educate, we can enable this kind of technologies for the internal use, for internal impact. That's the only challenge. And if we do that, so we can really have a lot of benefit from our exports of softwares, and then enabling our local industries, which includes like starting from healthcare, where we have limited resources, and we have no choice except like using AI to optimally use our resources, and going up to financial services regulations, and we can really get like long way and have a like great benefit out of it. Only thing is someone will have to champion it, and someone will have to really kind of ensure that we are moving in the right direction, and we are building our capacity over there.
As far as you mentioned, most of this the audience is students. I'd just say use as much resources available online and just educate them and themselves. Don't wait for the academia or the government to step in. Just upgrade your knowledge. The jobs market and the overall world is about to change, and if the students, especially because at their start of their career, if they don't understand that and they don't change their direction and try to become domain experts and learn the basic technologies, I think we are going to lose out. And as to Dr. Faisal said, opportunities are huge. You don't have to wait even for the Pakistani industry to evolve and give you jobs. There are jobs available online. There are jobs available globally. So if you have skills, you can actually, even while living in Pakistan, you can work for any company in the world. And that's the beauty of the technology and AI. So I'd say that would be my 2 cents and advice to them.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the wonderful audience. The questions you asked were very interesting. What I have learned, and I'd just like to conclude, is that stay focused, have a plan, network with the right people, and learn yourself to really create an opportunity around AI. And there's nothing to be really overwhelmed by. I mean, we're not going to be, we're not going to get redundant very soon. There's no singularity coming, and just look at it positively. With that note, thank you very much.
Thank you, Farah. Thank you, Ali, for arranging that.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.